Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss something different. So we are going to discuss about Amazon. So Amazon is an online marketplace we all know. And in Australia, this is their website. And you can see this. I have taken this screenshot of Amazon website. And this may give some impression that we can purchase almost everything on Amazon. And now Amazon provides their products or the products which we purchase on their website. They are mostly delivered using some common courier services. Let's say I have purchased this web server or one computer which I will configure as a web server because I want to launch my website here. So this is the computer I purchased from Amazon, and I received this hardware as machine which I'll configure as a web server. Anyway, so this is the picture of the founder of Amazon, and this is one of their websites and their offices in USA. And in addition to that, Amazon focuses on more areas. So those areas, one of the areas is e-commerce, as I mentioned here, so we can purchase different things. Second area, very important area, which we'll be discussing today, is cloud computing, and then it's also interested in artificial intelligence, online advertisement, digital streaming. So we are going to discuss Amazon Web Services. So Amazon Web Services, this is a subsidiary of Amazon. This is the reason that I discussed it before. So this Amazon Web Service provides cloud computing platform. So what cloud computing means? So cloud computing is basically the availability of computer system resources. So like in computer, what we have the processing power, we have storage, in that we can save our databases. So we have these all resources. So cloud computing is basically providing us all those resources. So it means if I have purchased a computer hardware to deploy my website or to configure it as a server, so instead of purchasing this physical hardware, I can get some services from some cloud service provider. And Amazon is one of the cloud service providers. There are others as well, like Microsoft Azure. We have Google, but we are focusing on this Amazon Web Services. So in this case, like instead of purchasing this hardware, I could have asked Amazon, which are actually managing a cloud. So let's say in that cloud, we have multiple computers. They can have thousands or maybe even more. Thousands of computers and millions of computers are there. And instead of purchasing this computer myself, these Amazon Web Services, they are creating some virtual resources like computing power or storage, and then they are giving those resources as a services to the clients. So in this way, in this case, let's say I can ask them to provide me a portion of their cloud. So we can say the portion of their cloud means we can be given a virtual private cloud like here. And this virtual private cloud, I can have my resources. Let's say I am interested in getting some virtual machine or virtual computer there so that I can deploy my website there. So this would be possible. So in this case, we will be discussing what are the advantages of doing this thing. But at the moment, let's say instead of purchasing this hardware, I'm asking Amazon Web Services to provide me those services, and I can deploy my this website there. And the biggest benefit of this is that I'll be using these resources, or I'll be paying for these resources as I go. So this is actually a pay as you go model of pricing. It means you just need to pay for only that much amount of time for which you are actually using it. But in this case, let's say I have purchased this hardware machine, it means now I need to use it. And sometimes some of the resources may be free, some of them will be underutilized, some of the resources it's at some time maybe I need more resources. So in this case, where this will be challenging for me to go every time on the website and have all the money ready in my pocket so that I can place an order. But in this case, it says that in this cloud service provider, you only have to pay what you use and for how long you use it. So this is actually a time basis payment. You need to pay them, and then maybe on the second day or after 1 month you don't need those services, then maybe you can unsubscribe from those services as well. So that's the advantage. We'll be discussing it well. So in this way, it is Amazon Web Services. They are managing some cloud, and in that cloud, we can have multiple, let's say, virtual computers, and they are somehow managing those virtual computers, and they are sharing the resources among the multiple users around the globe. So these users can be anywhere. The cloud computing offers the clients these kind of services. So software as a service, we can have infrastructure as a service, we can also have platform as a service. So first, what is software as a service? So software as a service, in that case, the client receives working software as a service from some cloud service provider. Working software, like we can have some email software, or we can have uh, some student management system software, like let's say. So we will be given that software as a service, and in that case, we don't need to purchase any computer, we don't need to install any operating system, we don't need to manage it. So all these things, so service provider, let's say Amazon, will be responsible for installing, licensing, and maintenance of that software. I'll only be paying as I use that software, and rest of the things will be handled by the cloud service provider. So one example of software as a service by Amazon is Amazon Workdocs. And Amazon Workdocs is actually a platform for creating and sharing digital contents. So in this case, otherwise what we need to do, if you are using this kind of software, then we need to purchase some hardware, we need to install some operating system, maybe something else, and then we install application programs. So it means we too much, and we will also be responsible for maintaining it. If there is, for example, any virus, or if we want to update our hardware, so in that case, this will all be our responsibility. But if we are getting this software as a service from some cloud service provider, let's say from Amazon, so in this case, is that these all things will be responsibility of the cloud service provider, and we will only be interested in using that particular product. So that's the first service, which is software as a service. Second is infrastructure as a service. So in this case, as a client, we receive virtual computing resources by the cloud service provider. So one example, and this is the example of infrastructure as a service given by Amazon, that is Amazon EC2. So that is Elastic Cloud Compute. So here, what we get a computer. So that will be a virtual computer to run our applications. So like again, instead of my product, like as I purchased my computer hardware, so instead of purchasing that computer hardware uh, with specific RAM, specific memory, like a specific processing power, a specific LAN card. So instead of purchasing all these things, I can get those all things as a service from Amazon, and this is one of the example of the services which can be classified as an infrastructure as a service. And now we have some computer here in the cloud, that is virtual computer. On that computer, we can install any operating system of our choice. We can install any application program which we like. So this is the example of infrastructure as a service. And the third example of cloud services is platform as a service. So in this service, we as a client receive complete platform. Complete platform means we will have hardware, we will have operating system, and we will also have some, let's say, necessary IDE for development. Like let's say I'm Python developer, or I'm a Java developer, so I also need hardware, I need compiler, I need for some component for testing. So I need complete IDE. So if I subscribe some of the services from cloud service provider classified as platform as a service, then I don't need to take care of any of the things. I should only be concerned with my coding, and rest of the things will be handled or maintained by cloud service provider. So this simple definition of IDE. So platform as a service supports building, testing, deploying, managing, and updating the application life cycle. So let's see, throughout whole life cycle of software development, we don't need to take care of that. We only are concerned about the coding. And one example of a platform as a service given by Amazon Web Services is Elastic Beanstalk. So this is a service provided by Amazon, and this actually fulfills our requirement of being a platform as a service. So this elastic beanstalk, what we need we need to upload our code, and rest of the things like deployment, scaling, and monitoring of the application will be handled by the cloud service provider. We don't need to take care of anything. We just need to take care of our code. The rest of the things will be handled by service provider, Amazon in this case. Now we need to discuss some of the advantages of cloud computing. So first advantage is agility. So agility means the cloud service provider or cloud computing provides us access to broad range of services like compute, storage, database, Internet of Things, machine learning. So like whatever service we need, so there will be many, like in cloud, like Amazon provides, I think, almost more than 200 services. We have a broad range of services available with us, and then we can deploy our services within no time. So we can deploy and test our idea, whatever we want to develop, whatever we want to implement, we can deploy this within minutes. And the second benefit is elasticity. So with this, the cloud computing provides us the facility to get these resources as much as we need. Elasticity means we can increase the resources which we need, like for our website. If let's say a website gets really successful, and if we need to increase, let's say, the memory of the hardware, or maybe if you want to increase the processing power, so in this case, we in the cloud, we can scale those resources as per our requirement. But let's say if this website is not being successful, then it's maybe we need to reduce or scale down the resources. Maybe we can go from 8 GB RAM to maybe 4 GB RAM, or from 8 GB to 16 GB. So we can do it with easiness if we are using some cloud computing resources from some cloud service provider. So we can scale up or down those resources as our needs. And this third benefit of cloud computing is cost saving. So cost saving means we don't purchase fixed hardware having fixed price. We purchase only the services. So what happens, for example, in this case, if I have purchased that hardware to deploy my website, to host my website, so it says that with cloud service or with cloud computing, you don't need to purchase this hardware, because you don't know whether you will be using these all resources. Like if we have 8 GB RAM, if we have any other processing, we don't know whether we will be using all these resources or these resources will be underutilized. So in this case, cloud computing provides us a platform where we can just subscribe for the resources which are needed. So let's say on maybe one day we need 8 GB, on the second day maybe we need 16 GB, on the third day maybe we need 4 GB. So if this was physical hardware, then we need to go and purchase or sell it out one day and then purchase again. So this will be, you can imagine what will happen. But in the case of cloud services, you can just simply configure those services. So that will be the benefits. And also, actually, cloud will be used by many users. So in this way, the price or the cost to be paid by individual will be reduced. So that will be that is called actually economies of scale. And the last benefit or last advantage of cloud computing is that we can deploy our services, our application globally within minutes. And this means uh, this cloud service provider, they have deployed their resources, or they have their data centers. So like Amazon, like here Amazon, they have their data center throughout world. They have like different regions and availability zones, which we'll be discussing. But let's say Amazon has their data centers or their computer maybe in USA, Europe, Australia, India. So it means now in this case, if they have their presence throughout world, throughout globe, then we can deploy our services anywhere we want. So for example, if we want that our services should be available in, let's say, Australia, then we can deploy our services there. We don't need to go there. We don't have to purchase those infrastructure. We just have to use their resources available there in that specific region. And if we want to give services to the users which are in Australia, then it's good to use the resources available near to you, so that users can have low latency, and they can enjoy better user experience. They can have you better user experience, I mean. So now you can see with cloud service provider, we can have different advantages, and they are providing different kind of services, and maybe we can only subscribe for those services from cloud service provider, and we just need to pay as you go. And this will be cost efficient, this will be implementation efficient as well. So I think that's it for today's video. I just went through some of the introductory ideas about service cloud computing services, and some of the examples of cloud computing services by Amazon Web Services. So in our next video, we'll be discussing something about different regions and availability zones and maybe CloudFront. And thank you for today. Hope to see you in the next video.